Today I'm going to be talking about a dishwasher part that is broken and how I am going to fix it with my Dremel 3D45 3D printer. On this dishwasher, it has this tray where dishes sit, and the way it works is that this tray rolls in and out of the dishwasher based on these wheels attached to this mount, and they go on a track inside the dishwasher. The problem with this dishwasher tray though is the wheels that are attached to it are affixed by this small pin. So the wheel fits, the pin goes inside the wheel right here, and then the pin attaches to this mount. The problem though with this pin is that it's got this slight beveled edge that's wider than the diameter of the pin itself, and it's either worn down or it's just too small of a tolerance to keep it engaged with this mount. So with my 3D45 printer, I am able to replace plastic parts very easily. And as you can see here, I've already replaced one of them. This was my trial piece and it worked perfectly the first time. I have two more that won't stay on, so I'm going to go ahead and build two more and show you exactly how I did it. Here's a closer look at the pin itself so you can get an idea of what is actually catching inside the plastic mount. You can see this section right here that just has the slightest difference in diameter to the pin, and this is what is holding it into the mount. But obviously it doesn't hold it very well. It's either worn down or the difference is just too small. But like so, the pin just rests inside this wheel, and this is what attaches to the mount. In order to replicate this in my 3D45 printer, I took my trusty caliper or micrometer, however you want to call it, and measured the various dimensions of the pin. And it's pretty simple with a caliper like this. You need to measure the various distances like so, measuring every piece of it, measuring this section right here, measuring the diameter right here, measuring the diameter right here, measuring the diameter of this larger section. And you're going to need to measure, of course, the distances up until that beveled edge, and then the distance of the beveled edge itself. The way these calipers or micrometers work is that if you're looking on the millimeter or centimeter scale, which is on the top, you basically just get the distance wherever it is. That would be 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters. And you can fine tune it, you know exactly where it should be with this gauge. You can see the red is the millimeter scale. So I measured each section of this, kind of just wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then transferred those dimensions to my 3D printer drawing software. So let's go look at that now. I use SketchUp for drawing all of my 3D builds. I find that it's very intuitive, very easy to use, and not buggy at all. There's a few things that are a little bit quirky, but once you learn how to use it, it's pretty simple. So this is the pin that I built, and I'm going to show you exactly how I built this pin in SketchUp. It's very simple to do. So if I just start over to the right side, I pick a circle, and you can see down here it shows 50 sides. That's important because sometimes it defaults to 24. So you just find any place on the plane that you want to build, and you click once to start picking the diameter or the radius. You can see right now the radius is 7. The dimensions on this pin, I don't remember exactly what it was, but you basically pick the diameter that you want, or the radius. Once you have the circle set, you use your push-pull tool and you pull it up to the desired height. And then you will go ahead and build a second cylinder on top of that in the center of the first cylinder. And you decide the dimensions on that, and let's just assume it's those dimensions for the sake of building the pin. Now once again you use your push-pull tool, focus in on that center section, bring it up to the desired height, and now that we have that, we need this larger diameter section that's actually going to attach to the component itself. I'm going to zoom in here to get it a little bit easier to do this. And so let's just say that is the diameter we want, and that shows 4.2 millimeter radius. Now that you have that done, you can go ahead and do your push-pull one more time. And now you have a pin built. Now this is not the exact dimensions of the real pin, it's just showing this for very simple, easy to use. Now that the pin is done, I need to export it to an STL file, which I click here. Once that is exported, I open up my Dremel 3D slicer and load the device into there. And then I can check it out to make sure it looks good. And then I can print or save to file so that I can begin printing the item on the plate. All right, I've loaded the model onto my USB drive and inserted the USB into the printer. I just need to apply some glue to the surface of the build plate. That helps keep the model in place while the extruder is moving around on the plate to build the first few layers. Once I've done that, I'm ready to build. I just hit build on my screen, pick the USB drive itself, pick the model that I want to build, and it shows 38 minutes to complete. Click build right there. It begins copying the file to the hard drive, and then begins the auto calibrating and preheating process. This is the pin after it was completed on the 3D printer. You can see there's a glue residue right here that I put on. And this is the skirt that all 3D printers put around the build so that they ensure that the filament is extruding correctly. And then it begins to build the model itself. You can see here there's some sort of exterior wall around the pin, and that is used for supporting the overhangs. So if you have that set up in your printer, it's going to do that, because obviously filament can't just be built in mid-air. It has to be built on something that supports it. So once it's completed, you have your Dremel supplied spatula, and you basically just pry the model off the plate, which is not too much effort. And this is how it looks. So now the only remaining thing to do is to break away this support material, which is usually not too much of an issue. Just want to be careful that you don't break the model itself when you're doing this. some parts can be fragile. So pull that apart. And that's how it looks. I can feel a little bit of residue right there from the support material. So I've got this file which works pretty well when I want to clean anything up. This doesn't have to be a pretty piece, so I'm not too concerned about how it looks. It's all going to be hidden anyway. So now you can see that there is this slight difference in dimension right there. So here are both pins that I've created because I was missing 2 more. I've done 1. Here is the original. Obviously the hole in the middle doesn't really serve any purpose, so I just did it solid. You can see here that they're not identical, but they're certainly close enough. And it took me about 15 minutes on my laptop to build each one of these. The only thing remaining is to snap these into place with the wheel. So I've got it inserted right there. I'm just going to place the wheel. Use these pliers to just get it firmly sunk into it. You heard the snap. And then for the other one, you heard it snap. Now all 4 wheels back in working order. And here's how it looks in the dishwasher. It works perfectly. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please click on my others, like this video, and please be a subscriber. Thank you.